Hello, good afternoon. I am Preja Arvind and welcome to another episode of SoSouth Discussions. Now, today we are here to discuss one particular comment of Union Minister H.D. Kumaraswamy, in which he has stirred up a debate when he questioned U.S. firm, U.S. semiconductor manufacturing firm Micron for getting 3.2 crore rupees subsidy for every job it creates in Gujarat. Now, he had been commenting on Center and Gujarat government's decision to allow US semiconductor manufacturer Micron getting almost 70% subsidy for every job it generates in India. The company's investment is worth about $2.7 billion. This is what he said. I asked the officials, how justifiable is it to allocate such a significant amount? Conversely, in Pina, an industry area in Bangalore, as we all know, there are small scale industries. How many lakh jobs have they created and what benefits have we provided to them? This is what he had asked. However, this morning he made an abrupt U-turn when asked about this particular comment. And this is what he had to say for that.
Semiconductor sector in a big way, because that is strategic point. Actually, we required it. Most essential that is. But parallelly, we have to create a job for the second line sector, SME, our small scale industries. There we get for ITI some skilled labor. Yes, we will get more number of jobs. For that, actually, we are thinking, we are working out. That is the issue
So
I
you're
raised.
saying that you have been misquoted on Gujarat?
Misquoted, definitely that is misquoted. I have not told anything. I have not referred any state also. Why they have taken like this? Really, I am surprised.
As far as
Then I have
investments
to. Then I have.
While this comment has stirred up the proverbial pot, there is a larger implication to this. To discuss this particular implication, I have with me Mr. Champi Puranik, former professor of political science and a political analyst. Welcome, Mr. Puranik.
Namaste.
Namaste, sir. Very good to have you on this SoSouth discussions with me. Now, Micron is set to receive 50% fiscal support of the total project cost, which is 2.7 billion from the central government under the government's modified assembly testing, marketing and packaging scheme. And the incentive accounting of another 20% of the project cost from the Gujarat government for the facility that will come up in Sanand, Gujarat. Now, Kumaraswamy might have denied, as we just heard him speak, Kumaraswamy might have denied, questioning this particular decision. The larger picture to look at here is that such particular questions would not have been noticed or even asked of the Modi Sarkar in the 2019-2024, that is Modi 2.0 term, because BJP had absolute majority. Now, my question to you here, Mr. Puranik, is that even though this particular comment, could this be the start of, again and again repeated testing of PM Modi's acumen to deal with coalition partners?
Well, Mr. Kumaraswamy, going back on his own statement, which I read in Times of India in an elaborate way, I know there your question of surrendering the entire kind of project in favor of the US company. I think it has to be rechecked, and the previous government of Gujarat, Prime Minister, which had absolute majority. Now it is a coalition government, obviously. And since Mr. Kumaraswamy is a new entrant to the coalition, whatever kind of cooperation or manipulation or maneuvering and all that, it's understood. That's how probably he was on guard to say that they have misquoted and all that. But the fact remains the same, because facts cannot be changed. If you say for 5,000 jobs, if you are surrendering 2.5 odd billion kind of dollars, to the company, Macron company, definitely India is at a disadvantage. I think his question is right. Whether he asks or the opposition asks, that's the matter to be seen in future. But such things, when they deal with it, they should, the officials should brief the minister properly and give clarification to him. Maybe in his exuberance or enthusiasm as a new minister, who has taken charge just now, unguardedly he must have revealed the kind of whatever suggestions and the pitfalls or lacunae in the agreement. I think it's understood, but I mean he has to stand by it, because you can again further watch whether this is going to be the same, or there are going to be some kind of I mean adjustments, toning down and all that. But I think I stand by his earlier statement saying that the disadvantage for India should be prevented. And his second point, that the entire Lok Sabha election was fought on the issue of majorly on the issue of unemployment of the youth, whether it is skilled
Exactly.
or unskilled. I think, and whether it is skilled or unskilled, this has to be noted. I congratulate him, though he has withdrawn from his earlier statement. I think, as watchful media, you and me, we should be in a position to find out why such kind of things are happening. And there is a need for reviewing the whole process of what the previous government did and what the under coalition government they are doing. So it cannot continue in such a kind of an hide and seek fashion. That's how I feel.
Now, sir, this is where I'm going to ask this thing. Can we expect more such questions raised against decisions taken by center? And how much, and I have a follow-up question to that. How much of it will be an issue for BJP in general and Prime Minister Modi in particular?
Prime Minister Modi, I think is obviously well aware of these things, especially his popularity and expertise in international relations and the optics and the image he has created. I think he stands number one in terms of India's foreign policy or external relations are concerned, or improving the image. That's okay, but that should not surrender our rightful share in the proceeds of any company, whether it is US company or any other company. I think our people, our youth, our educated people should stand for benefit. That's how I feel. So my point is, there is no need to review the entire thing that has happened in the past, which I think nobody will allow. But they should be cautious in future. I mean, not to commit such kind of one-way kind of. I don't say surrender, but the kind of the spirit which the agreements are signed or memorandum MOU are drafted and finally presented and all that. So hitherto the country was not aware of such things. We congratulate Mr. Kumaraswamy for having come out with, though in his what I said earlier, in his enthusiasm or his concern. No, I can appreciate his concern. He has a lot of concern for the interest of India, and also the youth. They need to get job, and he was also hinting at no, 1 minute. He was also hinting at the unskilled kind of labor employment and all that, which the company should have verified or mentioned. That is not there. So it's a loaded kind of question that you are asking, and it's also, I don't think it's a mystery, but it needs to be clarified or probed into further by your sources, or by asking questions directly to the minister when he goes back to Delhi also. That is also I feel.
So, sir, as we are discussing now, coming back to it, as you very rightly pointed out, that we are congratulating Mr. Kumaraswamy for having brought it to notice, considering the opposition's biggest war cry against the BJP government was that they had been talking so much about everything else, but apart from the actual burning issues on the ground. In fact, opposition, there is a whole part of or a whole section of media and political analysts who are saying that BJP lost out because they didn't have answers to the opposition's mounted attack over questioning why there was so much of high unemployment, where Mr. Modi had promised so many so many jobs in so many months, in so many years, which hadn't been fulfilled, and there was no response or even an answer to the question. He had been conspicuously quiet about these questions so far. Every time there was a misguide or a misdirection to any other issue than the questions that were being asked, and probably that is why BJP got the mandate that it got today. Now here the question arises is that, can we expect more such questions raised against the governments blanket decisions without consultations, because now Prime Minister Modi and the BJP in the NDA alliance, they will have to answer to their partners to have a stable government.
Yeah, yeah.
Can we expect
I,
more
I
such
quite,
moves?
I, qu- yeah, I quite agree with your point that both in the government itself, there is no need for opposition to take advantage of this kind of critical or objective kind of verification. I would personally feel that unlike the previous regime of Modi's cabinet discussions, there was not inner democracy. I think that inner democracy has to emerge, and today is bound to emerge because the opposition is very strong and very alert in the Lok Sabha or in the Parliament itself, both the houses. So therefore, to avoid such embarrassment and the kind of whatever hide and seek, I think there should be more thorough discussions within the cabinet, which was not there earlier. And I think Mr. Modi and the other cabinet ministers, senior ministers, they should speak out. If Mr. Kumaraswamy is not an ordinary person, he is a former chief minister. He has
Correct.
conducted several meetings. So I think more democratic spirit will emerge, and I think it's a kind of a warning bell or signal to the cabinet deliberations. Either two, it was one side. Whatever Modi, Amit Shah, or a couple of ministers had said, it used to be okay. So that means every item of the cabinet agenda, though it is confidential, should be openly discussed in the interest of country and also the people of this country, who are ready to give such kind of incentives to the foreign companies. When you give 70% of incentives, 50 plus 20, which you mentioned in the beginning, I'm sure the India should get, and we should never go beyond 50% of the rewards. The foreign companies cannot take us for right. That's one way. I think this is a lesson to be learned by the cabinet ministers and also the BJP parliament members, who should also try to express their opinion without any malice towards anybody. They do love, respect their prime minister, whether it is coalition or BJP. But they should also have this kind of open discussion in order to see that the real democracy persists both within the ruling party as well as giving scope for opposition to ask the right questions, and the right answers should come out from this. And that's how I look at it, as a new trend. Perhaps it's a healthy kind of debate or open discussion, which ought to be there in a open society or democracy like India. That's how I feel as a political science teacher.
So you mean to say that this is the more ideal way forward for the government, so that all
Yeah,
checks and balances are in
yeah.
place, and the charges of authoritarianism or totalitarianism that has been, piled against Modi Sarkar in, Modi government in 2014 or 2019, that kind of accusations and charges against of authoritarianism or totalitarianism, that will abate. And do you think this is the more ideal way for the government to move forward?
Yeah, definitely. I think the advisors, the prime minister, but I think my main worry is he relies more on retired bureaucrats than these political leaders or colleagues. So second thing is, you see the warning of Mohan Bhagwat when he mentioned there should not be arrogance or the kind of one-way traffic, my
Exactly.
way, highway
Exactly.
approach. That was
Exactly.
there. So that's why they should also take care of Mr. Mohan Bhagwat's warning or caution, saying why you are reduced from 400 par to 240 and why and how you can correct it. It's a kind of introspection, which perhaps I think the Modi government should learn lessons from that. There is nothing shameful about it. After all, you are there. Otherwise, next time you will be further reduced from 240 to what we don't know. So you should try to show to the people of India that the democratic spirit of the entire representative government is kept high, not the party or the Hindutva agenda, and which are all secondary. For me, I think Kumaraswamy, as a true coalition partner, has certainly gone through the file and spoken his whatever the details that he has given to the newspaper
Exactly.
or in yesterday's interview. But today he is going back is only to somebody must have cautioned from Delhi after seeing the report in the newspaper that you see you be careful and you deny it and all. Mere denial, I don't think it will suppress truth. Truth is truth. Whether it is because these are all public documents. See, the CAG will definitely go through this, and they will, instead of CAG or an accountant general mentioning about such losses and lapses, it is better the Modi government goes democratically, and the democratic spirit and culture is also included. And you should invite suggestions, not from officers or some so-called experts, but it should be from the political leaders who know the ground realities better than the former advisors, which the Prime Minister unfortunately had, and it led him to such kind of non-priorities over the economic issues and all that, which he neglected. Perhaps I think that's a good thing. That's a very healthy sign. You should welcome it, like you and me.
So, which means this is the way forward. Because see, in the past 10 years, especially the youth, the ones who are going to get these said jobs, they have now that they are adults and looking for jobs, these are the youth. They haven't seen a coalition era. They for the past 10 years, now that they have just joined, these new adults, these young adults, they haven't seen a coalition era in their growing years. This probably, do you think this is a new dawn for Indian democracy? This new coalition era, do you think is the new dawn for Indian democracy?
No, I don't say new dawn for Indian democracy, but new dawn for BJP and Prime Minister Modi, because he himself, as Chief Minister of Gujarat, for nearly 14 years, he never had this kind of whatever coalition. I don't
Exactly.
say correct or anything, but he has not gone through. So, having gone through a kind of one-way highway, my way, the kind of syndrome which he had, I think that is shattered now. Now Modi is more humble. You look at his body language, look at his face. There is so much of caution in whatever he says, and then suddenly he tries to introspect and come out with a kind of whatever statements that he is making. So he is very, very cautious in his approach. I'm sure Modi, I think Modi should be the first person to tell his cabinet ministers to come give suggestions freely, so that the coalition dharma is upheld, and for the stability of the government for 5 years, which the opposition is doubting. They are also trying to, point out that the ministry will collapse within 2.5 years, because he has a top or very seasoned term coach as two parties, that is Chandrababu Naidu and Nitish Kumar. So he should be cautious. I think he should walk. I think it's a tightrope walking for Prime Minister, whether within the cabinet or outside. I think it's a healthy sign. I think this kind of experience is first time for Modi, because in the name of Hindutva and his Gujarat model, he led the entire country for 10 years. And in future, based on that strength only, you need spiritual strength, but it should not be politicized for the sake of one-upmanship. That's how I look at it.
Thank you so much for joining me here and giving me answers to these particular questions that I have put forward to you. So there you have it. Maybe not for the new dawn of Indian democracy, but definitely a new dawn for BJP. This coalition is, if it has to stay, Modi, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will have to relook the way he functions.
Yeah, he should say. We wish this government stays for 5 years with more democratic spirit and democratic culture, not the authoritarian and absolute kind of approach which we saw for the last 10 years. That's how we wish it also.
Thank you so much, sir.